this isn't about building contempt against women. This is about simply realizing that they're a anchor to your ship, and having them drag you along is only going to slow you down. This isn't for you to hate women. It's for you to understand women for what they'll never be to you, which is a equal, and they're not. You can either understand women or respect them as an equal. You cannot do both. Next story here, we're going to watch a clip from our guy. I think you guys all know who this is right here. We're going to watch a clip from our guy, Nick, okay? I think this came from one of his segments where he was reading super chats on his show. For those of you that don't know, go check out America First on Rumble. And I saw this clip come across my timeline, and I was losing my mind. I was like, this is so hilarious. Because, you know, I've been saying this for years, right? But like Abba and Preach will sit there and conflate it with like, oh, you're gay because you don't like to spend time around women. Here we have Nick kind of articulating this in a funny manner, but very honest. So let's roll the clip. All right. And you guys could go find, you guys can see it right here, rumble.com/NickJFuentes. Go check him out. I don't know if he probably went live earlier. I don't know if he's live. No, it's Saturday, right? I don't know if he's live now, but yeah, let me pull this up for you guys.
Women need to completely shut the up. It's not like, it's like these guys are complete and they just want to for this like mythical good woman, the mythical good woman that we can safely pour our simping into. If you don't have, wow, this is going to sound so bad. If you don't have like a deep and instinctual contempt for women in general, like you're not going to make it. I don't know what to tell you. When will they realize we want feminine women? Oh,
now to the untrained listener, this would be perceived as evil talk, right? But I want to rewind that because it's actually extremely important. I'm going to kind of, though Nick is using some sarcasm here or some hyperbole, etc. The underlying message under this hyperbole is extremely important. So I'm going to play it back for you guys real quick. And for all my young guys out there, listen up.
Wow, this is going to sound so bad. If you don't have like a deep and instinctual contempt for women in general, like you're not going to make it. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. Now, obviously, he's kidding. I know Nick personally. So like he's saying contempt, like he's using a very strong word. But what he's really saying here, chat, is if you defer to female authority or female leadership, or you base your life around women, you're gonna have a bad time, okay? I'm gonna say that again. This is super, if you base your life, right? Your interactions, the way you move, the jobs you take, where you live, you know, your lifestyle habits. If you base that off of a woman, you're gonna have a bad time, okay? So in other words, the whole concept of happy wife, happy life is a lie and a facade. It is a psyop and propaganda to motivate you to allow your woman to become the decision maker, to become the authority, and eventually undermine your authority and then leave you anyway, okay? Most men in America are painfully blue-pilled. And this is why so many guys struggle with women in general, right? Because we've been told to be, you know, nice and pedestalize women and that their opinion matters or whatever. But that mindset of believing in egalitarianism between the genders is actually going to set you up for failure. I'm going to say that again. Guys, this is super important. The belief and mindset that men and women are equal and entering relationships with that mindset is going to set you up for inevitable failure. It might be a month, it might be a year, it might be 2 years, it might be 3 years, it might be 10 years. But at some point, death by 1,000 paper cuts is going to have you bleeding out. And those paper cuts are pedestalizing your girl and not recognizing that you are the authority, not recognizing when she shit tests you. I'll give you guys an example. I'm sure many of you guys that watch the show, either have a girlfriend, have a wife, or have had a girlfriend or had a wife that you live with, or that you spend a significant amount of time with, right? You may have told her to go do something. Hey, make me a sandwich. Hey, I need you to do this. And they would respond, do it yourself. Now, to the average guy, this would seem as a non-issue. Okay, that's fine. I'll do it myself. She doesn't feel like it, right? No big deal. I can make myself a sandwich this time, right? But what you just did by allowing her to tell you, do it yourself, and you actually comply and go do it yourself, is you have rewarded poor behavior and insubordination. Now, it's one thing if that happens once, twice, and you check it. It's another thing when it happens once a week, then moves to 2 times a week. Then by the time by the time you notice, she's smacking you upside the head at target. You give them an inch, they take a mile. It's just that mile takes a few years to be present for her to run that mile. And you won't even notice it in the process. That's why they call it death by 1,000 paper cuts. And many of you have been in this situation where a woman that you're courting or around disobeys you, undermines your authority, or does some shit. And for fear of coming off as emotional, right? Or for fear of coming off like an asshole, or for fear of her just leaving you because your market value is low, a lot of you bite your tongue and you're afraid to check your woman. That is a big mistake. Even the Bible tells you that it is better to sleep on the roof of your home than to share 4 corners in a home with a quarrelsome wife. How did in biblical times know that women are going to shit test you and you can't fucking tolerate that shit? You guys ever think about knew that these were? Do you guys get it? And it's not just the Bible. The Quran is the same way. All the monotheistic religions, the Abrahamic religions, are actually this way. The male is the authority, and anytime you defer that authority to her, you're cooked. They knew it centuries ago. But for some odd reason, we can't figure that out now. And that's what a shit test is, guys. She is going to disobey you or do some shit, and it's your job to immediately punish that bad behavior. This is actually what made me go viral back in 2020. I'll never forget. Roughly 1 week after I resigned from the government in December, on December 5th, 2020, that was the day, that was my last day at the government, December 5th, 2020. Roughly 1 week later, I stood in front of a bar called Blackbird in Brickell, and I talked about punishing bad behavior from women. If she flakes on a date, make her pay for the next one, punish bad behavior. This video went viral because the concept of punishing women for poor behavior was a novelty. No one had really talked about it before. And not many people have talked about it on TikTok. And back then in 2020, when TikTok was actually an authentic app that went off of the algorithm, it went viral. I was one of the few people to be on mainstream platforms actually talking about this shit. And the reason why I made that video was I needed men to understand that poor behavior from women should never be tolerated. Because if it is tolerated, you're going to make your life a lot harder later on. And going back to what Nick said, he's saying, oh, you should have some level of contempt. Obviously, that's tongue in cheek.
If you like these videos, like and subscribe, and if you want to create videos for yourself, try Opus Clip, link in bio.